Good morning and a very warm welcome to the employees of Maybank for today's half-day training program, which will be focused on employee-focused learning culture. Yes, my name is Ahmed Umran Wahid and I am from the Training and Development Consultancy Tomorrow the World. I have been working with them for almost 3 years and I have given various training sessions, although I am still seeking improvements in my training deliveries. As we have completed 2 sessions already, I'll be focusing on the session 3, which is organizational change. As you can see from the program timings, this half-day training will take almost 3 hours, and there will be 3 training sessions, each of 1 hour, and there will be a break of 10 minutes in between the training sessions. Session 1 will be on leadership development, session 2 on culture and values, and session 3 on organizational change. As you can see from the session timings, we'll start this session at 10:55 a.m. and we'll finish exactly in 1 hour at 11:55 a.m. This session will include a brief explanation of the definition, organizational change, causes of organizational change, reaction of employees to organizational change, and also the role of leaders and managers in implementing organizational change, factors for successful organizational change, and the results of organizational change failure, which will be followed by an activity and then the session learning outcomes. The main aim of this program is to promote Maybank's learning culture. Therefore, through this training program, I'll try to ensure that the employees of Maybank understand the strategic importance of adapting learning as a core value at every level of the company, and also to integrate learning with the other current strategic human resource management philosophy, elements of current strategic human resource management philosophy. The session aim. Throughout this session, I'll try to explain the meaning of organizational change and the process of organizational change, and also ensure that the trainees understand the causes of organizational change and that they are familiar with the reactions of the employees to organizational change, and also enhance the trainees' knowledge on the roles of leaders and managers in implementing organizational change, and also ensure that the employees understand the factors contributing for the successful organizational change, followed by the outcome of failure in organizational change implementation. Also, throughout the activity that will be carried out in this session, I'll try to enhance the communication and teamwork skills and adaptability to changes of trainees. Okay, first of all, I want to ask you all a question. What do you think when you hear the term organizational change? What comes into your mind? Anyone?
Changes in the strategic management of the company.
It's okay, acceptable. Anyone else?
Changes in working culture.
Also acceptable. According to Pardo Delwell, Martinez Fuentes and Roy Dobbin, they formed a definition of organizational change based on past researches, which states that it is an empirical observation of the current state of the organization on the sustainability for the long term, and also implementing new processes to adapt to the changes in environment or to enhance performance of the organization. The unpredictable changes in the world economy forces organizational changes in order to sustain their business by competing in the marketplace. However, you all must know that implementing a successful organizational change is not an easy project. Therefore, it is not an easy project, and employees have to be convinced to accept the changes and also to adapt to new methods of working. A research from Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development indicates that less than 60% of the organizational changes meet their standard objectives. This means that there are a lot of challenges in organizational change implementation. Moreover, the organizational change process involves formulating a strategy and also implementing project management and stakeholder engagement, followed by the transition of organizational change management and realizing and managing the benefits of organizational change. Moreover, it is very important to identify and set clear objectives for the organizational change process, and also the outcome and impact or the benefits should be clearly explained to the employees through the organizational change process. This will ensure that the employees are committed to the organizational change process and they are committed and motivated throughout this process. So, causes of organizational change. Can anyone of you tell me what are the causes of organizational change? What can cause changes in an organization? I don't know.
Upgraded like the system.
What?
Upgraded process system, something like that.
Yeah, correct. Anyone else?
New board of directors.
What?
New board of directors.
That's also correct. Sure. First one, I'll take a look at the change of government or legislation. Changes in government or legislation forces the organizations in an industry to change their regulations because there will be a lot of changes in an industry due to the change of government or legislation. Moreover, mergers and acquisitions can also cause organizational change, as the new shareholders or owners might have different opinions in the managerial or operational processes. Challenges of growth into global markets. Organizations trying to globalize and enter into foreign markets might face challenges because they might face challenges and they have to ensure that these challenges are overcome. Structural changes. Structural changes can also cause organizational change because there will be changes in managerial positions, power distribution, and also finally the internal processes of an organization. Exit strategy. This refers to a company leaving its current situation to avoid failure or once the objectives are achieved. Therefore, this also involves major organizational changes. Introduction of new processes. Implementing new processes in an organization can also cause changes because they have to strategize new ways to implement these processes in the current operating systems. Strategic reorganization. Strategic reorganization also involves major changes in an organization because they have to find ways to implement the operational processes in order to accommodate the new strategies. Reaction to change. Now I want to ask you all, what is the main factor that contributes to resistance to change of employees? Why do they resist change in an organization? Can anyone tell me?
Maybe they fear to lose their jobs.
Absolutely correct. The main factor behind resistance to change is fear. Employees either love it or fear it. They have the fear of uncertainty of the change. They are concerned about what the change is going to bring, where they are going to be after leaving the comfort zone, and how and whether they are going to fail by bringing about these changes. Even some employees believe that the risk involved in bringing about the change is more than the risk involved in staying where they are. Hence, it is very important, as I have mentioned before, to explain the outcome and impacts associated with organizational change. Moreover, there are different characteristics of employees in an organization. The character of these employees can be depend on energy and commitment level during the organizational processes. The four categories are locals, sleepers, preachers, and champions. Now, I want all of you to be champions during the organizational change process because that's what really helps the organizations to achieve their goals. First of all, locals. Locals are employees who are completely against change and they are trying to prevent changes from occurring. Hence, their energy and commitment levels are very low. Second, sleepers. Sleepers are employees who are not either they are not aware of the changes or they don't want to know about the changes. Hence, it is the organization's duty to make them aware of the changes and awaken them from the sleep in order to increase their energy and commitment levels. Preachers. Moving on, preachers. Preachers are employees who have a lot of power, but they do not consider change as a priority. Hence, the organization have to communicate the changes in order to increase their energy and commitment levels. Finally, champions. Champions. These are the employees who support and are highly involved in the change. Hence, their energy and commitment levels are very high compared to all the other employees. Role of leaders and managers. It is very important. Managers and leaders play a huge role in implementing organizational change successfully. As you can see from the figure, the intersecting part of the two circles represents the common roles shared between the managers and leaders. And the remaining part of the left circle represents the roles of the managers, while the remaining part of the right circle represents the role of the leaders. From this figure, you can understand that managers' roles are more focused towards system and structure, while the leaders' roles is to innovate, develop, and challenge the current structure and systems in an organization. Factors for successful change. Can anyone tell me what can contribute to the successful change in an organization? What?
Great leaders.
That's also correct. What else? Maybe. It's something to do with the whole organization. So what do you think? Everyone have to work together.
Engagement.
Teamwork. So I'll show you the three main factors contributing to successful change: teamwork, training for change, and change management by teamwork. As implementing organizational change successfully involves all of the employees in an organization, they must have an effective team. It is the role of the organizations to clearly set the objectives and also define the roles and operating processes. By stating the objectives clearly, employees are motivated to achieve the tasks, and also defining the roles enhances their responsibilities, while defining the operating processes helps them to manage conflict and make decisions more smoothly. Moving on, some employees might not have the necessary skills required to manage and implement change in an organization. Hence, they have to be trained to accept change and also to implement a stakeholder engagement strategy in order to implement organizational change effectively. Lastly, change management buy-in. According to John Cotter, an organization can only successfully implement organizational change if the 75% of the total management buy in to the organizational change. Now what does that mean? That means that 75% of the management must embrace the change and also be committed to make the change successful. Furthermore, they should have an experienced and reliable project team, which helps to implement the change successfully by minimizing the potential drawbacks to the organization. And finally, the approach of an organization is very important in order to implement organizational change successfully, because they have to create a sense of urgency among employees to make sure that they are committed to the cause. Organizational change failure. So what could happen if organizational change cannot be implemented successfully? Anyone have an idea? What could happen to an organization? What are the potential drawbacks to an organization?
Waste of time.
Waste of time, okay. What else? Maybe something more specific to the organization? Any idea?
Loss.
What?
Loss.
Yeah, correct. Loss of market position. Loss of market. The company might lose their market position and be inferior to the competitors if they are not able to implement organizational change successfully. Moreover, they may lose credibility with stakeholders such as shareholders, employees, and customers, as they are not able to maintain the performance levels as they have perceived before. Additionally, this will demotivate the workforce, as the morale among employees and management will be decreased, as they are not able to maintain the high performances by adapting new ways to work in an organization. Finally, loss of key employees. Key employees might walk away from the organization, as they might feel that they are not going anywhere by implementing these changes in an organization. Okay, so how about an activity to refresh your minds and engage more in the session? The name of this activity is Change Your Seats, and the objective of this activity is to analyze the reactions or feelings associated with change. Actually, I wanted more number of people here, but still I think we can do this. First of all, I want all of you to stand up. activity?
Yes.
Now, what I want you to do is change your seats. But we have to change your seats from this side, or everyone sitting on this side should move to this side, and maybe everyone sitting on this side can move to this side. But make sure that the person sitting next to you is not the same person, that you are not surrounded by the same group of people around you. Can you please change? Just change your seats, not permanently, temporarily. Okay, you will sit down, everyone. I have a few questions for you. How did you feel about this change? Did you see it as an opportunity to sit to someone new, or like was it like a difficulty for you? Undesirable change, uncomfortable change? Yeah, that is also one of the reasons why people are against organizational changes. Also, what are some things that makes people resistant to change? As you've said just now, it's uncomfortable for you to change, maybe to move around, maybe sit in a new place to someone new. That's also a reason. And what can you do to make it easier for people in your organization to accept change? What do you think? Maybe they have to be trained. Maybe they have to be given clear objectives. Like I've said before, in this activity, I've told you to do what to do very clearly, right? So that means like giving clear goals. Like if it was in an organization, the clear goals will be achieved by doing this. Okay, moving on to the session, learning outcomes. Understand the meaning. I hope by the end of this session, you all have understood the meaning of organizational change and learn the process of change implementation, learn the causes of organizational change, understand the various reactions of employees depending on their characteristics to organizational change, learn the role of managers and leaders in implementing organizational change, key factors contributing for the successful implementation change, understand the outcome of failure in implementing organizational change successfully, and finally experience the feelings or emotions associated with the change through this activity, and also enhance the teamwork and communication skills and adaptability to changes throughout this activity. That's all for my session, and now I would like you all to fill out these evaluation forms in order to improve myself for my further training.